The avoidant person spends their entire relational life being pursued, chased, and desperately wanted by partners whose increasing anxiety feeds their sense of control and emotional superiority. This familiar dynamic confirms their belief that they hold power through withdrawal and reinforces their defensive patterns. However, specific behavioral shifts can completely reverse this dynamic, transforming the avoidant person from the pursued into the pursuer. These changes operate on deep psychological principles that bypass their defensive mechanisms and trigger responses they cannot consciously control or suppress. Become genuinely unavailable. The avoidant person begins experiencing intense desire when someone they previously had access to becomes authentically unavailable due to their own full and satisfying life. This unavailability must be genuine rather than strategic, stemming from real commitments, interests, and relationships that consume time and energy. When the avoidant person can no longer assume someone will be waiting whenever they decide to offer attention, their entire psychological framework shifts from comfort to concern. This unavailability triggers their competitive instincts and fear of loss that they typically project onto others. They begin experiencing the anxiety they usually inspire in partners, wondering whether they still matter to someone whose world has expanded beyond them. The shift from being the center of someone's universe to being optional in someone's busy life creates an unfamiliar sense of urgency and desire to reclaim their former position of importance. Display total emotional indifference. The avoidant person pursues desperately when confronted with someone who has genuinely stopped caring about their approval, attention, or validation. This indifference cannot be performed or faked, as their radar for emotional games remains highly sensitive. When they encounter authentic emotional detachment from someone who once cared deeply, it disrupts their sense of control and significance. They begin questioning their own value and desirability in ways they force others to experience. This indifference communicates that their typical strategies of withdrawal and emotional distance no longer hold power over someone who has genuinely moved beyond needing their presence. The avoidant person finds themselves in the unfamiliar position of trying to provoke emotional reactions that refuse to materialize, creating a psychological void where their usual sense of superiority once resided. Their pursuit emerges from desperate attempts to restore their impact on someone who has become immune to their influence. Radiate happiness without them. The avoidant person pursues intensely when they witness someone thriving, glowing, and radiating genuine joy in their absence. This visible flourishing contradicts their unconscious belief that they are essential to others' happiness and well-being. When someone not only survives without them, but actually improves, it challenges their fundamental understanding of their own importance and the impact of their withdrawal. They find themselves drawn to someone who embodies the vitality and fulfillment they cannot generate within themselves. The contrast between their internal emptiness and their former partner's obvious happiness creates magnetic pull rooted in both desire and envy. They begin pursuing not just to reclaim lost connection, but to access the energy and aliveness radiating from someone who has genuinely moved forward. Establish firm boundaries and self-respect. The avoidant person chases someone who demonstrates unwavering self-respect and refuses to tolerate the breadcrumbs and mixed signals they typically offer. When someone establishes clear boundaries around how they deserve to be treated and maintains those standards regardless of the avoidant person's behavior, it triggers respect that transforms into attraction. The avoidant person unconsciously seeks partners who possess the self-worth and boundaries they lack within themselves. Show interest in other potential partners. The avoidant person pursues frantically when they realize someone has opened themselves to other romantic possibilities and is generating interest from quality alternatives.